Yes. Andrew, are you going to be our new reporter for down here, or?
Maybe, I'm not sure yet.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. I think we talked about it, but he hasn't, the editor Mike hasn't said for sure yet, but possibly, most likely.
There's copies of the handouts on that table over here, there, if you need.
Everybody got their hair done.
No, I didn't.
It looks good. Look at everybody.
I got my hair scalped.
I was up with mine all night.
I've been running around a lot today, so I didn't get to really make it look pretty like I wanted. But hey.
Every time I think of a reporter, I always think of Clark Kent, the Alameda reporter for a Metropolitan newspaper.
And we're live.
Yeah.
Got so many
Well,
stacks.
you're
We are live.
I need to downsize.
I had enough cookies in me. I'm ready for anything.
Couple file folders at home.
That's what I do. Well, then it turns
I
into
need a
box.
damn. It helps me.
I bet because I'm starting to get a stack already.
I know.
Well, oh, you made it.
Need it.
You didn't speed, did you?
I hope not.
Because it's
It was just on Georgesville.
Most of the time.
My purse is even
Hi, I'm
worse.
Courtney.
I came to your town hall meeting that you had early November.
In Lowell.
That. I recognized some of you.
Lowell, before you leave, I have something for
That's
you.
Andrew.
Oh, okay.
I guess I'm not the only one out here.
They changed it around. We got different ones here. They had them sitting out. And
Is Billy here?
Did you tell him?
Gotta keep
all right.
Gotta keep
tabs
him
on
in.
him.
You're be hollering.
Yes, sir.
Sir, can I get past you, mister?
Stand up.
I'm gonna have to jump across here.
Oh, wait, here comes Misty.
You want to come this way, Courtney?
the total
Mr.
Oh, my goodness.
Mr. Anderson. Mister.
He still doesn't know.
He's gonna follow her.
changed so much stuff on me from our original pack. I'm trying to Yeah.
He did it
I had one thing laid out, Tom. A lot. All got changed.
I'm ready for them sinus pills to start kicking in.
Every time I think I got
The
it,
ones
you
that
never
don't
think I
take
had it. It always hit you one way or the other.
I know the mics won't say anything.
Huh?
You want to trade me?
Little bit. They just put me on steroids too now.
Hello?
Maybe shrink it all down.
Your hair looks so pretty.
Oh, thank you.
Come on, me.
You did?
Thank you, ladies.
Now you lost
Yeah, you
Lowell.
lost Lowell. Where'd he go?
He was following you.
Oh no, it's
I said there's one in my office.
You added more stuff to my stuff.
Yes.
Oh, that's yours.
Did you find a pen?
Check this one. You're
I'm
good.
one
Mark won't get through.
No, Mark
Find
can't.
another.
I'm all right.
Do you have onions?
Can you pass that back down to Courtney?
Let's do nice and full sign.
Becky said to pass that down to you, please.
Thank you. I'm glad that we are organized on this side.
We got it.
You look like a mess over there.
If it pleases the court, I find him guilty.
Once I stand up, we're going to have to pledge, aren't we?
Yeah, might as well.
I'm ready whenever you are.
You want it?
I'm ready as
That's what you're going to
soon
get,
as our
Billy?
utility clerk comes back.
0700. I always like the silence before the storm.
It's done.
o'clock.
There's the ding ding.
I'll call this meeting to order on February 12th, 2018, and you all join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Be seated. I would like to remind everyone to please, if you have a cell phone or anything that's going to go off in the next hour and a half, please turn it down or off. Courtney, you'll do a roll call, council.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes, I'm here.
Tom.
Yes.
David.
Here.
Rebecca.
Here.
Sammy.
Here.
And Becky.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. You all have in front of you the minutes from the January 22nd meeting. I assume you went over those, and I need a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Thanks, sir. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Lowell.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Sammy.
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Thank you. That puts us in department reports. First report will be the Sheriff's Department. Jack.
Okay, you guys have the report for January of 2018. I laid it in front of you. If anybody has any questions, I'll leave it at that.
Hey, Jack, I'd like to make a comment, though, after what happened in Westerville. The men and women of our law enforcement, the danger you got, all of you are in 24/7 to protect all of us. Sometimes you don't realize until we lose some officers' lives, then we realize the dangers you guys are in, days in, days out. I just want to appreciate what you do, Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Law Director,
I have no report, Mayor.
Mr. Pitstick. Nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Oh, we're just... Utilities Clerk, Misty Vance.
Well, I have nothing, but no, I'm just kidding, just a
Oh.
couple things.
You just
On my chair.
teased him.
She's talked all day about this report, so...
Okay, just a couple things real quick, just to touch on the meters, how we're trying to replace them. We're running pretty low, council, on meters, so if we can get some approved, that would be amazing. We have 6 more planned for tomorrow and Wednesday to get replaced, and so we're running, there's maybe 10 left. The guys are trying to piece and part some together. They're just doing inventory and everything, trying to come up with some more, to try to just look in every nook and cranny to try to piece them together. And that's for the radio heads, that's for the automatic meters. Since our last meeting, we have collected about 59 more thousand, almost $60,000 in dollars, about 200 payments. I have like about 150 of the payments right now to put in from today. It's around 13,000 up in there now. So busy day, very busy day. There's around 6,500 in delinquent payments out there. There's quite a few shutoffs that we have coming up. A lot of them, or most, and we gave them 10 days. We put the notices out there. And the reason for that, I mean, they're very past due, but some of these places, they're past due from previous times. Like, for an example, there's one notice that I put on a door. It was from almost, I don't know, it was years ago, actually, like 2010. They haven't used the water, and they said it was shut off. We went and checked. They've not been getting charged. There's no usages for the current billing cycles, but it wasn't turned off. Somebody could have used it. So just little things like that we're finding. There's some that's been going out minimum charge, and the water's been shut off for years, but there was no record in the system. So it's just finding that. We have a printout from the auditor's website that shows every house and the city, so we're trying to match those up, make sure that they're on our billing system, to make sure that we can catch, not catch, but figure out the, some pieces of the puzzle, so we can get it together and get billing what we should. I think there's quite a few dollars out there we've been missing, and we haven't been going back on those people that we have noticed that they haven't been billing. We just said you need to get a deposit in here right away and get this amount in here, and of course they have no argument with that. We're looking into possibly doing away with the refundable deposits. It's $150, and getting like a smaller deposit but non-refundable. Because there's a lot, we do a whole lot. People move from one location to the other. It's a lot of record keeping. So, hopefully to generate some kind of revenue there, because there's a lot of administrative fees involved there.
Chase.
Okay, so then another way we're trying to make it easier on our customers to get the money in is, of course, to put it online, like on our website. And if we can figure out a way to do that with no cost, that would be great. But getting it through these guys is kind of tough. But as of right now, people don't know this, that they can make payments through their bank. Like for an example, if you bank with Chase, you can go onto your own account and then pay it through Chase, and then return. Chase sends us an actual check. And people think because it's paid electronically that it will get to us electronically, right? But they kind of check, and it does take 6 days to get, if I had Chase go in there to make my water payment, it takes 6 days for that, for it to go to Chase, then they cut a check and us to get it at the front window. And I put them in the day that we get them, but it is 6 days. I've tracked it 3 times. So no matter if it's Huntington or Fifth Third, people can pay on their, on the website, but it's their actual bank website, their, checking website. But hopefully we'll have it on our website coming soon. Maybe we could put a coming soon thing on the website. No, we'll figure that out. So anyway, just a little bit of info,
and we've been looking at making the billing more efficient. The billing cards, as you all well know, it's been like that for years. So she and I have been looking into a more efficient way for everybody in town to get their complete bill. Actually, you may have tried it differently at one time, but we didn't have the equipment to run that paper.
Well, I've switched the paper around. You can see it's blue, but it didn't just, people were saying, oh, it's white. I don't notice it. It looks like junk mail and it's in a magazine or whatever. So I changed the color, but also, as people know, the one month that is really messed up, that I had it made a lot thicker. Well, actually, Wilson Printing took it upon themselves to make it thicker. It tore apart. They didn't laser cut the perforations. So people would get one part of it in the post office. I guess the whole group was trying to tape and put together these little halves. So we did have it back to the regular laser cut on part of it, thinned out. But it just seems to still be a problem, or But out of say 800 bills, if 5-10 people have an issue, or they'll get it back in the mail envelope, cut all up. But they go through us through a machine, then they go to the Mount Sterling post office through a machine, then they go to Columbus and they get metered, come back, and then that's when they get passed out. So it's amazing that they even, they're not all torn apart. So I don't know. It costs less to mail these postcards than it would the regular size envelope. We do get a discount, but still, there just has to be it seems like more efficient.
Let's see how we come along with the delinquent bills at this time.
They're hanging out there a little over 6,000 still. And like I said, there's a lot of shut-off notices out there, communication cards. There's 6 of them going to be shut off tomorrow, between tomorrow and Wednesday. Got a couple in today. At least they made payment arrangements, and we're willing to do that. I think there's no reason for somebody not to call us to take care of that bill when we can do payment arrangements. A lot of places, like say, a lot of electric companies, you either pay it that day or it's shut off until you ever do pay it with fee. So I think we're being more than reasonable working with people, and as long as they do how they agree upon, we'll work with them, not get it shut off, so. That's it.
Questions?
One question about the meters. You said you're down to like your last 10. How many are you going to need to complete your project?
A little over 100,
Okay.
and they're running about $250 each, $259 I think it is, and that's with a discount if we order 48 or more. And it would, I mean, the ultimate goal would be, they have these meters, I think I touched on it last time, so I'll, make it short and sweet, but they're like $350, and what it is, what they call a radio head on top of the meter, and it will automatically go to a signal at any time. Like say if I logged onto the computer here or at home, I could look at anybody's read at any time. It's just automatic, instant. So
You wouldn't have the guys going around.
no, you'd save all that time. You'd save that time, and it's a live read is basically what it is. So that's pretty neat. They would have a tower posted here or some kind of antenna posted here, so it would automatically I don't know if it's every 10 seconds, 15 seconds. It's just like, you think of like satellite, how quick it gets from one place to the other. But the guys have they've done a great job on finding, I mean, you think little things, but it fixes a big problem. Another piece to the puzzle is, it might be a meter, but like there's a certain way you have to install it, and if it's turned around, then it will slow down the consumption. And they've, found around, to be exact, 4 of them so far. So it looks like everything's working. I'm getting a read, but it may be, instead of being a usage of four, it might be 1. So it's not coming up as no read. It's just coming up as, so I'm really proud of them for that. So we're trying to get to be proactive instead of just, reacting when a problem comes up. I hate working like that, but we'll get it done. It's just time, and I'm trying to, it's hard to be patient when you know that there's things out there, but really will kick you out after so many hours.
Her and the guys they're trying to fix a ongoing 15-year problem. I mean, she's trying to clean up 15 years of neglect.
Thank you, Misty.
Is the only word I can think of. After sitting with her all day and realizing how complicated and hard that job is, just to try to find out what these residents are, being billed for. Some residents actually have the word resident. Isn't that the one? And it doesn't even have a name with it. It just has resident. So.
And if the system's set up to recognize resident as no bill.
Yeah.
No bill at all to go out.
If you've got resident in place of your name, you don't get a bill.
Ooh.
But if you change it to so you think, oh, they move out, let's change it to vacant. It recognizes vacant as getting a minimum bill, and it goes to that address. But
It's just fine now.
Yes, and it's like hunting for needles in a haystack.
Wow.
It really is. They're doing an amazing job over there. I can't thank them enough. And on that note of the utilities, I received today a letter from one of the village employees, the water operator, that he's resigning effective February 23rd. I guess he's moving on to maybe bigger and better things somewhere.
Who's that?
Ladley.
Chris Ladley.
So we've already called our consultant Brian Arlegen and Tyler, and we're good to go. We're not gonna miss a step in everything that we're obligated to the state of Ohio. We're in fine shape. Thank you. Now, fiscal officer / what hat are you putting on first? The village administrator?
Yeah, I'll do the village updates first.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll try and make it short. Okay.
like him.
Okay, so let me first kind of rewind. It's been 3 weeks since we've had our last meeting, it seems. And we had received some, thanks Misty for the time. We had received some helpful training, shall we say, from all the guys. I advised them to come to a training that was held by a Terry Hicks at Buckeye State and Pike. And he had generously decided to come down here and teach everybody, new, current, people that have been in this position for a long time, to how to install meters, how to read them, how to identify if they're broken, how to fix them, how to save money. And so it was very helpful. Misty went along on a field trip that he took them to a few locations here around town to advise them on what to do, how to handle it, and what they should be doing. So that was very helpful, and Misty can say that it helped her a little bit.
Great. Educational for everybody. If somebody didn't get something out of it, then...
Yeah. So that's how they were able to identify if some of the meters were installed incorrectly. So he has generously came here to, tell us and teach us how to do that. So it was very helpful for the guys. I also want to point note about the snow removal. I received a lot of positive comments and questions, and I guess, telling us that we really pushed the snow pretty good this year, which was very, it was helpful for us because with Billy and I kind of being in this position, we really didn't know what to expect or how to, maintain it. So it was good and helpful to have some of the residents, give us a gold star to say that it really did. Even the UPS drivers were telling us too. They said it was very good. So any questions and concerns, and again, I say this every meeting, if you have any concerns, questions, always let me know. A lot of people are reaching out to me on Facebook. I have no problem with that. Please let us know how we can improve and change that. So it's been very helpful, and I just wanted to let the guys know they've worked all very hard, every single one of these employees that we have here for the village. They've done a tremendous learning curves, to better understand and change processes. They've really embraced those, and I really appreciate that for them. Next topic is I received, or was able to receive $150, I know this will be for the finance team, of unclaimed funds from one of our vendors. So I'm looking to have that check. Again, it's little, but every cent
It all counts.
So we should be expecting that within the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Cool.
Year-end closing has been closed officially on January the 29th. So our year for 2017 has been officially closed. Again, with finance, they like to cheer that one on because it does take a long time.
Oh, yeah.
The Nature Works grants. So I know I talked about this probably every meeting thus far, but we finally received the money.
Yay.
So we finally received a total of $26,198. And that obviously helps our general fund. Those were some of the funds that were applied for back in 14 and 15 years. And we were able to finally get that money in. So it does help in our deficit.
Did we get it before the end of the year?
No, unfortunately we got it in January. And Becky, I wanted to address the question that you had last time, and it's been 3 weeks since we met, but you had a question in regards to the dumpster up on the hill. It was only used for yard clippings, but it's used for everything. So I kind of want to let everybody know that you can put anything in there. They will pick those up. So
Perfect.
Just wanted to let everybody in the residence know.
And the tires?
Not the tires.
Okay, make sure you
Yes.
put that exception in.
Yes, not tires.
No Uniroyal
And do
lamp.
not burn them either.
But I did speak of this later, about tires. There is a way to get rid of them through the township.
Oh.
There's a kind of like a time and place when they're going to collect those. Kind of similar to what we were possibly talking about, like a cleanup day.
Good.
So, yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to address that to make sure that was taken care of.
Courtney, I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people stop you and ask you, when are we going to be able to dump this and that? Appreciate you
That's right.
working
Yeah,
at that.
not a
Great.
problem.
Yes.
Today, Billy and I, and as well as the water operator, Chris and Tyler, had met with Katie and Bridget, which is the EPA. So I know this has been on my agenda for a long time, is to, now that the new water plant is up and running, how do we decommission the old water plant? and what are our options. So there were a few violations in regards to, obviously when we started the up and running of the new plant, we have some issues of violations in regards to how to abandon the wells. That was one of the big issues, and how we're supposed to go about doing that. So Billy and I got some information on what we need to do so, how we're going, if we're going to keep a well open or not. Those are some of the conversations that we'll have with the water people. And they went to take a tour of the new water plant and were impressed. They hadn't seen it since it was, kind of, being built. And they were very helpful because we brought everybody in to ask any of the questions, because at this point, no questions off the table. So we want everybody and all the operators, all the employees that are going to be managing that area to make sure that they've asked all the questions they want to. So they were very helpful to informing us of what is going to happen next, what violations we could, possibly get, and how to avoid them. And if we're just very open with them, as we have been, that they would work with us. So there's some time frames that we have set up, and of course with time frames you have to meet those. So we're going to be talking, intensely with our utilities department and finance department that will affect both of those committees to see what is the best way financially and soundly for the village. Tomorrow we are scheduled to meet with environmental engineering tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Again, it's open to the public as well as to our committee members and our council members to talk about possibly contracting our sewer and water services. Billy and I had reached out to some of the surrounding villages and towns that use this service and how much it's cost and how it saves. So we met with South Charleston a couple weeks ago to talk about what their contract states, what kind of services they provide to them, and we are eager to see if that would help with our deficit and see what is the most soundly for our village and how we should start operating. That's tomorrow.
Now, does anyone have any questions about environmental engineering? Do you understand, everybody understands what we're going to discuss with them? Okay.
1 o'clock?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes.
And then I also wanted to, kind of talk in regards to what Misty had said is that, everybody's working very hard to get these, water payments taken care of. A lot of people are starting to reach out to me, kind of, I don't want to say like letting me know. Everybody's being very open because, again, that's what we want to have is transparency. And that's
Absolutely.
what, the village members deserve. That's what council, is here to do, and to address all of and everything that any of the residents have. So we are very open. I know Billy's taken a cruise around for certain people that had, kind of said, hey, I think this is an issue, so we welcome that. Again, we had that meeting with nuisance and abatement last week. I think Tammy will touch on it a little bit. And, again, I still welcome everybody to go to our website, look at all the updates, look at the upcoming meetings, because they will be scheduled and they will be running across that website to, for the next meetings. And all of that information is updated. Jack's done a good job. And leading on to that, Jack, that was part of my story is the Westerville police. I just, hats off to you guys. I know, it's a hard, tough job out there, but, it was, kind of hit home when you think about it is, we have you in this building, if something were to happen, it's devastating. So I think we all need to, look out, and that leads to your block watch. That leads to, people, neighbors helping neighbors. And I think that's good that we're back in this community and, again, very open. I mean, there's not a question that, we wouldn't be glad to answer or at least get the answer to. So that's the end of my updates.
Thank you, Courtney.
Yes. And then on to my finance. Maybe I should have a different name.
You need to wear different hats.
Wearing two hats.
Okay, fiscal officer.
Okay, so on to the appropriation status. Again, I kind of say the same thing in regards to my finance reports. The numbers are here. The only thing that I kind of like to point out is if there's anything that I see that there's a big change to. Obviously, we should be very proud because look at the general fund, we've only expended 5% of that thus far. So that's really, saying, a lot of good things in regards to, touching our 5-year plan. We've sent that out to the auditors now. They're kind of making some tweaks to that. And we're soon to wanting to have we'll have to hold a special meeting in order to accept that forecast. You guys as council members, you guys will have a copy of that. And you guys will then, determine if there's an issue on there. If you see that you want to change something, that's going to be your opportunity. The state is definitely, wanting to look at that. That has to be done before the 28th of February. So we'll have to vote on that. I would like to get that in there as soon as possible. So right now, I don't have that back yet. The state's still kind of reviewing that. So the general fund. The next thing is usually our water fund that we like to look at all the time. I was able to, again, the expenditures here is only 2%. I went ahead and changed the way that we manage. So again, we can't take back these loans that we're stuck with for the next 30 to 40 years. So we look at creative ways on how to reduce expenditures. And doing so, that means taking care of chemicals that we've kind of been, chemical companies that we've been with for a very long time. So we were able to find cheaper NSF water approved by the EPA, which was a big thing. I kind of dissected the whole, anything that comes in that plant and what goes out of that plant. So I've made sure that that's NSF approved, which it is, and it's also cheaper. So instead of you guys seeing one chemical company on here, you may see 2 and 3 because again, some chemical companies can't offer me that same amount as the other one. So I'm kind of using 2 to 3 different vendors now, but all in a cost saving, reason. So that's the appropriation status. Do you guys have any questions on that? Okay, the cash summary. Again, the general account is showing $5,276. And again, we'll see that increase once we get the 5-year forecast back and we have to, move or transfer some funds if needed. Okay, anything on that? Okay, and the receipt listing. As you can tell, the receipt listings are for, a lot of those for the Village of Mount Sterling. Those are your water and sewer payments that Misty is taking. Your workman's comp, that's our annual, that's actually an annual refund that we receive back. And then our 26,188 is definitely our grant that we received.
How much was the workers' comp?
97.64. Okay, and on to again, all of the same kind of things. Dryer Mallor, they're the manufacturer that does our vac truck for our water department. They are planning on coming down as well to train on the equipment and how to use that as well. So we're going to kind of get a refresher training for everybody that was maybe here for a long time or is new and never received any trainings. So that, again, we're going to have that within the next week or so. Again, Massai Environmental Services, that's going to be something we want to talk about during the environmental engineering meeting tomorrow. That's how we ship out our testings for our samples. I think that's it on that one. Any questions on that?
Courtney, one thing I can say, that being on the finance committee with Rebecca and Tammy and I, everybody out in the village know we work hard to do everything we can to keep everything running, and we've got a great worker who's sitting there too. But
yes, you do.
We put in some long stretches to help this village. We've been working very hard, and
Thank you. Okay, so yeah, and again, like what David was saying is, I appreciate you guys, taking the time, utilities, I mean, that's another one. Finance, we're always meeting. There's always a new topic. There's always something else to talk about or a hard decision to make. And I appreciate you guys supporting me, and I appreciate, again, you guys standing behind those residents to say, there's a problem and I see it. And I commend you all for that, because those are some hard decisions to make. And I appreciate that. But last but not least, we have Rita as well. If you guys want to put Rita's out. And I don't have my copy. Okay, so I have, it looks like on 2-1, we are showing a credit of $71,456. Thank you, Jack, for keeping me in line. And I think that is about it for me.
Okay.
I kept it,
No, you didn't. Thank you very much. Now, with all that said, and with all the paperwork in front of you, I need a motion to accept the appropriation status report.
Well, my packet has two. Is that a rewrite of the first one? Or something?
no, it's probably, I just kind of probably got the staples not together.
Well, it's
There
one
might
on
be
the
change
9th
looking
and
at
one on
the
the
date.
10th.
You might want to look at the date on it.
9th and 10th.
Does your date show as of 12/31/18? That's the one you look at.
Yes. But the other one was the day before.
Yeah, that's okay. I reran them. My printer was having an issue, and that's why you guys have your new reports there in front of you. That's since been taken care of. So.
Same thing on receipts.
Yes. Yeah, you guys received all of your financial reports, new ones, tonight. So there might be some that, because we haven't met for 3 weeks, so some of your listings and receipts will probably be, the list will be longer.
Are you still looking for that motion? I'll give you that motion.
I am looking for that motion. I found it. Thank you.
I second.
Now I'm looking for a second. Thank you. Roll call vote.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Thank you. Now I need a motion to accept the cash summary by fund report.
You have that motion, sir?
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Now, we only have one of those, right?
Yes. And that one you should have the date of the year of 2018.
Roll call vote.
Lowell.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Thank you. I need a motion to accept the receipt listing report that you have in front of you.
I make that motion, sir.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Lowell.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Now I need a motion to accept the payment listing
You have
report.
that motion, sir?
Thank you, sir. Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Roll call.
Lowell.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
I did have a question, but you beat me to it.
No. You go right ahead and ask.
Yeah,
On Brett Toller, that telephone will stop now, is that correct?
that is correct. Yes,
So this is the last billing, which would have been, well,
that is
off
correct.
the time we made the motion.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't change my vote.
Oh, the
Yeah.
$30.
I
He's talking
had
about.
it
Yes.
marked, but
Okay.
That was good to point out, though, too.
No. Now I need a motion to accept the reader report you have in front of you.
I make
I
that
don't-
motion.
Thank
that's
you.
good, but I don't have it, so I think I saw it. we're higher than we were last
Yes.
year at this time,
Yes, we were.
1 month.
Yep.
So I know.
Actually,
noted
it's
that.
right, the very last page, I can see it from here.
That's it. I had seen it, but I had covered it up. So that is interesting to note and keep in mind that our income tax, okay, you have a motion and a second.
I do. I don't have a second.
Who made,
Lowell did.
okay.
No.
Tom did.
Tom have it.
Tom did. I need a second to accept the reader report.
I'll make that motion to second it.
Thank you.
And I want to comment.
Go right ahead.
I have to be very careful how I say it. But the Plains is thinking about an income tax. And if that passes, and they get, I don't know how much they're asking for, look out, Mount Sterling. Because it will interfere with us. Ours is already in place. But if they put that in place, we're going to have to watch.
What would you be watching for?
We're going to have to watch because the people are going to complain because I pay tax in Mount Sterling. I also have paid tax to the Madison Plains School District. So the easiest way to do that is if I'm in favor of the school district, okay, I'll fight the village to get them to repeal their income tax.
Well,
So that's what I'm scared of. I watch that.
that's with speculation of them putting it on the ballot and passing. So I think we're a little premature on that. I don't.
No, we're not premature, but it's
Okay.
something to
Hey,
keep in
Lowell, how
mind.
much they asking for,
I want to
sir?
add another comment. When that tax was put in place,
You're talking about the village income tax.
talking about the village income tax, when
Yes,
it's put
sir.
in place,
Yes.
we did it with the emergency measure, Mark, before your time, but as an emergency measure, and that has saved us throughout the years because it cannot be touched legally very easy. That's right. So we'll have to watch it because the state of Ohio is never, this is the point too, they will never reciprocate. Because if you pay tax in Columbus, you're going to pay it in Mount Sterling. If you don't pay it in Mount Sterling, you'll still pay it in Columbus, and they will not reciprocate because everybody is larger than Mount Sterling. West Jefferson, watch West Jefferson's what's going on over there too. Okay, I don't know, I've said enough.
Okay. I have a first and second to accept the reader report. Roll call vote, please.
Lowell,
Yes?
David,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy, Becky. Yes. And if I can add one more thing. The bank reconciliation for January, there's been some issues on it with the bank. They're charging us some fees. I'm getting those removed and taken care of. So it's making me out of balance. So by the 26th, our next meeting, you guys should have that in front of you. We switched reps, so that's why it is. They may not be aware of, they're charging us some service fees.
Yes, I was aware of that.
So I'm getting those
But
taken.
they need to remember too, they're not the only bank.
Yes. So that's what I keep.
We haven't been satisfied with them on many issues.
Yes, well, yeah, that's true.
Okay, that does it. I'm going to backtrack for a second. I told you all that our Mr. Ladley had turned in his resignation. I need a motion to accept this resignation as of February 23rd from
Have
Chris
that motion.
Ladley. Thank you. I need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Comments?
Reason is,
Pardon?
did he give a reason?
No. And I didn't ask. I would assume he's found better, bigger things, and we can't begrudge anyone for wanting to better themselves, so it's none of my business. Now I need a roll call vote to accept the resignation.
Lowell.
I want to comment first.
All right?
When I came in as mayor, we fought, Mary Lou and I fought, along with Mark, to get him reinstated and get this all worked out.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm upset that he's decided to leave. And I agree with you when you say it's up to each individual person.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's something, too, that I'll let him go. If that's the way he wants it, we'll let him go. But I'm upset that he did that to us. And Mark knows we worked on that, got him reinstated.
So
By his call, he called us.
I'm going to...
I want him to be reminded that we did that for him.
Okay.
So yes, I'll vote for his release.
Okay.
David?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Thank you. That brings us to committee reports. First one being finance. Rebecca.
Okay, really, I think most everything's been touched on, but I want to say just a very special thank you to the Finance Committee and to Courtney. It's amazing how much has been done since the beginning of the year. We've been meeting every Tuesday at 3 o'clock. That's still ongoing. That is open to the public as well. We first started off by analyzing line item by line item everything in the general fund, because that was one of the 2 funds that got us into the fiscal emergency, to see what we could do to reduce it. Then the second part of that is coming up with the required 5-year forecasts that the auditors have asked for. And that is, we're kind of in the final stages of that, which Courtney indicated has to be on their desk by February 28th. Our goal was to have it done before then. And except for hearing feedback or maybe making a couple changes, we're very close to having that done. And it's just amazing how much has gotten done in that short period of time. We also, during one of the meetings, did have the State Treasurer's Office in. We had voted to accept the Ohio Checkbook Program last year. This was the final small presentation to be given to kind of the Finance Committee, but at our next council meeting on the 26th, there will be representatives here to kick it off for everyone. I was blown away as to how much information on the expenses that this will show the community. You can summarize it by payee, all these different things. There's pie charts. It's a huge step towards transparency, and if you want to see how your money's being spent, I know that we will be putting on our website information and a link how to get to the website for the checkbook program, and I'm just real excited for that to finally come out for the residents.
Thank you. Pleasant Township.
Me.
Becky Martin.
Yeah. They paid their bills. Gary, Mark, and Sam all met with the risk management representative. The large truck, they have 2 trucks, a large and a small. The large truck is still not working for snow plowing. They actually thought they had it fixed, and they went to pick it up, and before they even got back, it broke down. They had to have it towed. So it's over $5,000 to get fixed, so they're still working on how to do that. But in the meantime, the county's being really good with helping pick up the slack there for snow removal. They just got back from their conference, and they said they had great classes and a trade show, and down the road they may look at a new truck that they saw there. Tonight is a county-wide township meeting at Madison County Engineering Office in London. And let's see, one other thing, and she said, Courtney, you had taken advantage of something like this before, but Stephen Promenade is working on getting together a class for public records, and it's a 3-hour class. It's free. They need at least 35 participants, and she said that anyone that has dealings with the village, the township, the library even, would be very beneficial to take this class. So, you know, we may want to consider a lot of people trying to get to that class that Mr. Pronay is trying to get together. And I think that's about it.
Thank you.
Next meeting is Monday at 7.
Thank you very much.
Is this class you're talking about, what's the title of it?
It is a public records class. And she said that you took, was it the same class?
Mine was more as a financial,
Okay.
thing, but actually LGS, which is our gym in April, they actually created. So it's a very useful class.
It's not what we talked about today, though.
But like Kathy's required, well, I guess all of them are supposed to take it, and Kathy's our fiscal officer, and but she said it would be really good for you, Billy, and for a lot of us to take. So I'll let you know when I find out when it is.
Oh, thank you.
Well, all of us, not just you. But
Yeah, thank you.
sorry, Billy. There goes golf.
Pardon?
There goes golf.
Squad report.
Squad meets on February the 14th.
February 14th.
Thank you. Fire report. Mr. Ward.
Their meeting was held January the 25th, and the meeting came to order about 8 p.m. The previous meeting's minutes was read and passed. Grant was applied for. It was called Mark's Grant, and it was awarded. The chief is working on a BWC Safety Intervention Grant, and this for battery-powered or battery-operated tools. And a grant for the assistance to firefighters has come out, and the chief said he does not recommend getting this grant. There was a concern about the language, about whether or not they met the criteria. So they took a vote and they said, no, we don't want to do the grant thing on that part of it. The chief did apply for a grant for the fire training, and motion was made to pay for a training class taken by already taken by one of the members, and they've motion passed to pay that for him, which was nice. And there was a volunteer who had not been reporting or reporting in or staying in contact with the fire chief, and they tried everything in the world to contact this person. They wasn't able to do it, so they took a vote to let him go, and his position was terminated. And I won't mention any names for privacy.
Okay.
And the total runs they had last year, there was 311 calls. I have copies here. Everybody's got copies. If anybody wants to see what the calls were, they're all broke down in all areas and all that. So, and the next meeting will be held February the 25th.
Thank you very much. Utilities. I'm sorry.
I have a comment I want to give to Tom. And applying for these grants, you look at the rules and regulations they have set up. And just like the fire department decided not to apply because they could not or did not want to meet the criteria, apply anyway. I mean, you ask them to apply anyway, because in the West Falls School District, I have received grants with those same stipulations, and they got down to the end and nobody had applied, so they took my recommendation and we got a grant.
No, the fire chief discussed that, and he said that there was a question concerning how much money you could have before you actually got the grant, and they were real borderline on that. And the chief said no. He said he's not going to do anything that even's going to even hint of any issues.
But they need to apply.
So
if you don't apply, you don't know what you missed.
Utilities Committee.
Okay, we had our first meeting of the year just last week for the water and wastewater, and that's the next funds that we're starting to take a close look at now that we've just about completed our analysis of the general fund. We're going line by line on those funds also, because what we realized, thanks to some information Courtney put together for us, is the debt load that we have taken on over the course of quite a few years for both the water and the wastewater, for the most part, exceeds the revenue that we take in on those funds. So we have to start taking a very close look at reducing expenses, as well as like with what Misty's doing with going through all the water bills and seeing who's not getting charged, etc. Different ways like that, which will increase revenue. So we're just starting the process, but the same intensity that we are putting into the general fund in order to help the village recover, we're now going to be putting into the water and wastewater. So our next meeting is tomorrow. We're going to meet directly after we meet with the environmental engineering firm at 1 o'clock. So we're hoping the meeting will start about 2. And it will probably be ongoing and almost weekly until we get some strong recommendations made that we can bring to council. And that's about it. We
Thank
haven't
you.
started anything on streets yet, but that will be the next one we'll take a look at.
Thank you. Next one is the street committee.
Oh, just so with streets, there's,
Okay. I wanted to,
I do have a thought on the streets.
okay.
I saw by comments to each of the council members, an area in town which we've decided not to snowplow, and that would be the community center. You want to comment on that?
We decided not to plow it,
Yes.
period?
Mhm. Yes, it was decided that the plowing at the community center, because that has been something that we have generously given to the community center in regards to plowing and salting. There have become an issue here recently, this year and the end of last, that we go over there on special occasions because they must have, you know, other trucks or something that come in there during certain times. And I talked to the community center representative, and then they came back and asked if we could, you know, possibly contract with them. And it was recommended that at this point, what would happen is we would have to call somebody in. So say, for instance, if there was a snow and, you know, on a Sunday, we would have to call one of our guys in to do that. And it just wasn't feasible at this time to afford that, to be contracting with that.
Part of that street, it has to be done, and that would be from the main street around to the property line and then the alley, which is being done anyway. But it needs to be talked about because we have a health facility in there now that we did not have when Joe was here. And those two, the community center and the health department facility, should work together, not us.
Yeah, and that's what they noticed, is that the health facility that's there, they're getting their plowing done by a contractor.
That's good.
So I'm thinking at that point, they can take it back to their board and decide if they could probably contract with them to do the same type of parking lot.
They should care for that themselves.
Yes.
It is private property.
Well, the issue that was brought up, they have, I guess in the past we have, went over there before we got our own work done. And they called and wanted to know why we wasn't over there. Well, you know, our obligation is these streets and these alleys. That's our first, and as far as I'm concerned, our only responsibility because of cost. And that's when the conversation began. Since Madison Health plows theirs, they can, why can't you get some kind of contract to plow yours? You know, and actually, I don't know if that would be considered private property, that parking lot.
Well, it's not city, it's not village.
It's not village owned.
It's private.
Yeah, and if any accidents would happen over there, we don't know what would become of them. And of course, that's her concern. You know, if we tear something up over there, you know, we're going to pay for it. So that's how the conversation began, and that's how it ended. You know, that they should get a contractor to do their own lot.
I agree.
Okay.
And that kind of leads us into the snow thing is, you know, in the past, you know, what the employees are telling me that they never touched alleys. Well, I think that's the kind of, you know, appreciation I think a lot of residents are giving us the feedback on, that we're touching them, because those are a priority too. It's not just the main drags. You have, you know, 56 and 62 out here, you know, that are cleared all the time. So, in you know, talking with Billy and stuff, those alleys are a priority. You have people back there with medical conditions. You have people back there that park near the alley. So if we are not plowing it, they can't get out. So that was kind of, you know, a trial and error on our part, is, you know, now we are requiring the guys to go out there and plow those alleys because they need to be plowed with people that are trying to get in and out. And
We used to do it, didn't we, Bill?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so
Literally did it ourselves.
Yep.
Right.
So I think it's, I think it's good to let the residents know that too, because again, they were never touched until the next business day. You know, but that doesn't make sense because they're a resident too.
I think it's the supervision that.
The lack of.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's supervision.
Well,
Real supervision.
they had it last year too.
That brings us to Parks and Rec, Rebecca.
That's me again. We had our first meeting just a couple weeks ago, members of the committee as well as our new Parks and Rec director, Jack, and a member of the Mount Sterling Eagles Youth League. Jack had a great presentation for us that covered some of the things that we're going to be doing this year. I'm really excited because with a minimal amount of money, we're going to be able to bring so much to the community. You already seen it in the form of not Facebook, but website changes that Jack has been making to our village website. We have the James Cotton football camp. It's going to be back on June 30th. And how many do we have signed up already for it?
57.
57, and the maximum for the 2 sessions is a total of 150 kids. So we already have over a third signed up for it. We're hoping to bring a movie night to Mount Sterling. There's going to be, like I said, wonderful things. I know with Jack's commitment, and the whole focus is on the families and on the children, that we want something so that it is, once again, has that community feeling again, and I'm just really excited for what Parks and Rec can bring, as well as the care to Mason Park this year. So we'll probably meet again, I'm thinking sometime in March will be our next meeting, but I'll send an email out about that.
Thank you. Record of retention. Mr. Anderson,
Working on that.
you're working on it?
We are.
Yep.
Okay, I thought there was more. I thought there was more. We're working on it. And, okay. So, period. You're working on it, period. Okay.
We don't have anything.
Excuse, okay.
There's a lot to do though.
Yes, there
Me
is.
and Wolves ready to get in there and tackle. There's a lot to do.
There will be a lot to do. That brings us to nuisance and abatement. That's probably new to some of you. Because of the lack of nuisance and abatement for years, Mrs. Van Sickle has her hands full, and I'll let her explain.
Jack's my number one handful.
Right.
Who's working with him? No.
And then I'll make my comment. Go ahead.
He's got me scared. Well, we had our first meeting on February 7th, and Jack did an awesome job at a PowerPoint presentation helping us understand nuisance and abatement. It's not everything people think it is. Don't work the way people think it does. But it was a good presentation. Discussed some of the problems and concerns that we see, along with what residents are noticing. And Courtney and Billy and I, this morning, first thing, I noticed Facebook going crazy with a lot of people, compliments, concerns, and Billy, Courtney, and I, all three, commenting back to him. And it was really great seeing the open communication. And the residents were really appreciative of us listening, letting Jack know. Jack went out, checking things out. So it's really going smoother now, and I do got a lot of work. But
Lots.
yes.
Check it out, didn't he, Tammy?
Huh?
He did check it out, didn't he?
Don't start. We haven't scheduled another meeting yet. I think Jack's working on getting somebody from the health department down to, because a lot of things have to do with health department zoning, but we really do got a lot of work cut out for us. Jack, do you have anything else to add?
No, just, village residents, just be prepared. If you've got junk automobile parts, junk cars, trash, piles of wood, piles of tree limbs, things like that, anything like that. We're working on a front porch ordinance. So we're gonna be nice, but we're also gonna be firm.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good.
We're going to try to schedule within the next couple of weeks to get another nuisance meeting.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
that's it.
Now, comment.
Yeah, Tammy, you had said that it's not what a lot of residents think that it is, or may hope that it is, or something. So can you explain what it really is?
Let me explain it.
Yeah, Jack would be better at that.
It's more of the wording in some of the nuisances, like filth and clutter. That's not what you think it is. To me, filth and clutter is driving by and there's just trash everywhere on a porch and, you know, couches and chairs. No, that's not what filth and clutter means in the ORC. So you have to be sure you're defining filth. You define clutter and see if that fits your problem. So when they go out and look at a property, they have to understand what they're looking at and be able to decipher in the ORC what they're going to charge with. So I did some research while putting that PowerPoint together, and I did come up with some old nuisances that were not in the codified ordinance section, but that have been passed by council. And I presented those as well to our nuisance committee. So we've got a pretty good handle and understanding on what we need to do.
And I also want to remind everybody that there is a spot on our website to stay anonymous. If you have a concern or you think there might be a problem, email and it will go to the right people. And that we take all complaints seriously. We will check it out. Whether it's really a nuisance problem or not, we'll take care of that. But we do take everything seriously. Any complaint.
And they will see a result one way or the other. They'll either hear it or they'll see it.
Exactly.
Yep.
But we will communicate with them if they want us to, and we'll let them know from the start to the finish.
Very good. Very good. My turn?
Your turn.
Yes.
When I ran for this seat, I said accountability and transparency. And as you all, the public, can see, that's exactly what these people up here do every day. Now it's your turn. Because the lack of nuisance and abatement for the last 10 or 15 years, to be quite honest, some households in this community look horrible. They look terrible. They're disgusting to a person that tries to make their property look nice and keep its value when they got a mess next door. And it's unexcusable, and we're not going to tolerate it anymore as a community. We're going to lead by example. We're going to clean up everything that the village owns. I guarantee you it'll be cleaned up as soon as the weather breaks. And we'll expect every property owner in this town to do likewise, or you will be served papers. It's as simple as that. We're going to be nice about it, like Jack said, but we're going to be firm about it. We're not going to tolerate it anymore. Thank you. That brings us to Block Watch. Tom Ward.
The Block Watch is up and running, and we've got a lot of people signing up. I got with Mr. Dill tonight. We're going to try to get our first meeting, if we can ever get a free day to get it. And we're going to start with the first meeting, and we'll get it posted on the village website. And I will call, I've got the phone numbers to call each one, let them know, hey, we're going to have the meeting on whatever the date is. And it's very important that the people understand that it's not what's in it for you, it's you helping your neighbor. And the more we can get, if you're in the village, outside the village, the more people, the better it's going to work. And not only are you protecting your neighbor, you're protecting that man right there and his people he works for.
Right.
And the people he's working with.
Right.
I want to see him go home every day too. Okay? And I'm a little bit sensitive on these officers getting killed. So it's time that we stood up and we tried to be a set of eyes for those people too. So please, start signing up and get ready to have some fun. So thank you, Jack, for everything you've done, buddy. Appreciate it.
Block Watch. Thank you very much. Now it's time for the public of Mount Sterling to be accountable. Instead of complaining about a sheriff or a police department, join the Block Watch party. See what it's about. It's a well-organized group of people that are going to do a lot of good things in this community. So instead of complaining about what we got, jump in there and help these people. Volunteer. You may even enjoy it once the weather warms up. Thank you. Festival meeting.
We met February 8th. Rebecca and I was there, and we just discussed what went good last year and what didn't. We discussed the Madison Plains Band is committed to be in the parade. We're going to have the superheroes back, which, you know, I'm a superhero fan too myself.
Yeah.
We're having them back. Rebecca said the car show will be going, the Timmons Brothers Rock and Roll Trivia Show. We're in the Laser Light Show. I'm not going to say one way or another until we discuss it more. Rebecca and I talked about this, and we will discuss that later on. And main thing, and the bake sale made $1,000.
Very good.
We did well on that, and we'll meet again in the middle of March, and I'll have more to say on the Laser Light Show. I'll have some more information on that.
Very good. I didn't make it to the meeting, but I understand maybe we have a problem with the gentleman that was committed to the Laser Light Show from year to year. He may want to back out, so there are other people that put laser light shows on, and I think they're trying to decide whether they're going to have a laser light show or replace it with something else.
We're going to be discussing that at our
And even, and depending on what, and even if there is not one this year, he's just taking time off. He's a grandfather that is in the process of adopting his he's adopting his grandson. So he's taking the time off to be a dad again.
Okay.
And which is understandable. So he's not out of the business. It is just taking some time for family, which is understandable.
And I'm hoping we can get somebody. So we haven't gave up on the idea yet.
March date?
Yes, sir.
The March date?
It'll be the middle of March.
I'm thinking it's the 22nd, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think it's 22nd. So.
I think so. That's what she told me today.
Yes.
Parks and Rec will have a float. It's a surprise.
We're debating maybe starting some stuff Friday night.
Okay. That brings us to ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance 2018-04 is in front of you. That's an ordinance amending the rules of council, which we went through 1 and 2. And I need a motion to place 2018-04 on the third and final reading.
You have that motion?
Thank you, sir.
I'll second.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, comments. Is there any comments about this ordinance, about the rules of council before I ask for a roll call?
Well, this is the third reading, right?
It is.
Now, we were talking earlier about nuisance and abatement, and it hasn't gone on for 15 years like you thought. It was taken out of the rules of council previously to my term. And now it's back in there. David and I served on this abatement thing.
Yes, sir.
And it is a hard job.
Yeah.
And you need all the support of the Sheriff's Department and the Police Department to keep it enforced. It's a hard job, and it has to be done. So that's back in there.
Very good.
Hey, Lowell, I just checked on that Community Days meeting. It's Thursday, March 22nd at 6
thank you,
o'clock.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Second.
22nd, March 22nd at 6 o'clock.
Roll call vote, please.
This is the third reading.
Yes, sir.
Yes?
David?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed and in effect.
You need to file a motion for passage. Motion for passage, yeah,
A motion for passage?
on the third reading.
Okay.
So
I thought we was
this
doing that next time, but we'll do it right now. Now I need a motion for passage.
I make that motion, sir.
I'll second.
Thank you, thank you. Roll call vote. Yeah, I know you didn't.
Lowell.
Yes.
That was my fault.
It
David.
was.
Tom.
Yes.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Thank you, I know you didn't. That's okay. We'll get through this. Resolution 2018-10. This is a resolution authorizing Courtney Brooker, fiscal officer, to transfer the funds. The funds are coded by numbers. I'm going to let Courtney explain it because she'll probably explain it better than I.
Okay, so as we have new council members joining, most of the council members have paid into Social Security instead of OPERS. I know with Lowell, I mean, you have SERS, you have, school, and you've also paid into OPERS. But a lot of them have Social Security that they paid into. So even though we appropriated a certain amount of money for OPERS, I'm now going to go ahead and take that money and put that into Social Security. Okay? So those will be for the council members that have requested that to do so.
And those are the codes
Yeah, so it's not
that
like
they're
we're-
under.
Yeah, and I'm not going to increase it or anything. I'm just simply taking it from OPERS to Social Security.
So, I give you a motion to suspend the rules.
Okay.
Thank you. I need a second.
I second, sir.
Thanks, sir. Roll call vote to suspend the rules.
Lowell,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Thank you. Now I need a motion to place it on the first, second, and third reading.
You have that motion, sir.
Thank you, sir, and thank you. Roll call vote.
Lowell,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Thank you. I need a motion to adopt Resolution 2018-10.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, ma'am.
I second.
Roll call vote, please.
David,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Resolution 2018-11. This is a resolution authorizing the appointment of Sarah Thompson to the Financial Planning and Supervision Commission for the Village of Mount Sterling. You all know what that commission is, and you probably know who Sarah Thompson is. Part owner in the Mad Hatter and active in the Merchants Group, lives right down here past the school. She's a fine lady. And we're going to suspend the rules on that because she needs to be on the commission now. She's going to be our private citizen, so to speak, on this commission. Whereas with all the other state people that come down, she'll be our private citizen, eyes and ears.
Along
So-
with Jeremy Moyer, who was appointed last
Yes, I
year.
forgot his, yeah.
Does
Along
he
with-
stay on?
Yes, yeah, it requires, the group has 2 private citizens, and we only had the one, so Sarah, this will be to see if council wishes to authorize Sarah to be on it.
I know
As
we're
well.
out of line on this, but, have you checked with Snyder on this?
Yeah, but
April?
She requested this. Yeah, she said that there needs to be, she had spoke with, Melissa Snyder. from
Yeah,
Division.
oh, Melissa, yes, right. Yes.
She recommended that we have another person appointed.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get another person. And she's a good lady, and she's the first one that popped up to mind, so that's why. Yes, I was instructed to make sure that I had another private citizen. The next time the meeting is, I forget that date, but
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But,
Yeah, March
yeah.
7th or something like that.
and I would just imagine that Courtney will email her a copy of this resolution to show that she's been put on. So I need a motion.
Motion to suspend, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call vote.
Lowell,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Thank you. Now I need a motion to place it on the first, second, and third reading.
You have that motion?
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Well, just before we vote though. This is, I have a question, since she works for Becky, would that be?
A conflict?
I don't think that's a conflict.
Okay.
Roll call vote?
Lowell,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Thank you. Now I need a motion to adopt 2018-11 resolution.
I'll make that motion, sir.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call vote?
Lowell,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Very good. Resolution 2018-12. This is a ordinance amending the 2018 budget and make appropriations for the current expenses of the Village of Mount Sterling during the fiscal year ending in December of 2018. I can have Courtney explain that a little bit before we make a motion.
I would gladly to. Yes, this is to amend it. Anytime you receive any additional revenue, we all obviously have to get a amended certificate to say that we have an increase of expenditures or revenue. So in this case, I have it followed, Mark had written it, where we have the grant that came in and that dollar amount for 14, for 15, and then restitution that we received from Bonnie Lift. So those totals there, I will have to submit that to the county. The county would then bring us back a certificate saying that those have been increased. And again, moving forward, each time that happens, we will have to amend. So, moving forward, we may amend a lot.
Does this make her restitution, are we square?
No.
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 It's just portion.
That's correct. Yeah,
Okay.
this is what was agreed upon during the first, unfortunately, the first time they met in trial.
Okay. Proceedings.
Yeah, this was just her, retirement of OMERS. Again, special audit report also shows additional funds.
Okay.
But again, you can't, with any of that, of any money that was owed back to the village, there's not a time frame of when to receive that.
Okay.
So with that said, I need a motion to suspend the rules for 2018-14, or 12, I'm sorry. 2018-12, I need a motion to suspend the rules. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call vote.
Lowell,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Now I need a motion to place it on the first, second, and third reading.
You have that motion, sir?
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call vote.
I
Pardon.
wish we had one of these last 2 years, because that's all we got done, right? Is amend, amend, amend.
Yep.
Roll call vote.
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Now I need a
Motion to adopt.
I'll ask for comments before we make a motion to adopt. Anyone got any comments about this particular resolution? Then I'll ask for a motion to adopt.
Passage, motion for passage.
For passage, yes, I will.
I will make a motion.
Adopt a
sir.
motion for passage.
Gave you the motion.
You did.
Lowell did
second.
give first.
Second, thank you. Roll call vote.
Okay, Lowell,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
All right, passed. Resolution 218-13. This is a resolution authorizing me, the designee, to sign the renewal of insurance with Reinhardt Walters Tanner Insurance Agency. And before you ask, yes, I did. We checked with different insurance companies, and nobody can beat this company. So that's why I need to renew it. So I need a motion to suspend the rules for 2018-13.
I'll give you that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call vote.
Lowell.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Thank you. I need a motion to place it on the first, second, third reading.
You have that motion, sir.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Lowell.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Now, does anyone have any questions about this resolution or comment?
I do.
Okay.
I believe it's right after the cover letter that they sent us, the package policy application, so I guess it would be page 1. It still has Bonnie Liff as one of our contact people here. Will that be deleted
Yes.
off of there? Okay. And also just looking through it earlier, I noticed a couple different places it alluded to like certain vehicles and equipment we own. Have those all been updated? Do we still have all those vehicles that are on here?
I asked the employees to tweak that whole inventory list
Okay.
probably a month ago or something to make sure that we could maybe get a lower price.
Oh.
I just wanted an accurate inventory.
Right.
In case we got a lower bid, we could move that stuff. But
So
as
the
far as
inventory is good in it?
right.
Okay.
As far as I know, the inventory's right on right now.
I know with finance, we worked hard and hard on this, and I was so glad that, and this was the best deal we could get. And I know Rebecca and I, we kept going over, and Tammy, and that's the best way we could.
Now I need a motion to adopt passage of 2018-13.
Okay, we placed it on the third reading, right?
Yep. Well, we're getting ready to adopt it.
Okay, get the motion to adopt it.
Okay. Second.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Thank you.
On the very first page where it says package policy application, gentlemen, ladies,
Uh-huh.
read the contact.
She brought that up. It's being changed.
Yep.
Okay. How much savings do we have compared to the policy that we did have?
This
The savings did we?
is the policy that we did
I
have.
understand that, Bill. How much money did we save?
Well, when you shopped around, wasn't it, incredibly higher?
It was the closest they could come to it was like $4,000 or $5,000. That's the closest any insurance agency could get to this Reinhardt, Walters and Tanner.
On page 3, cemetery structures. Does that include the monument across the street?
Mm-hmm.
That's cemetery?
There's actually a line for that. I saw that there was a veterans monument line that's insured. I saw that when I was looking through this earlier.
I didn't see that, that's the reason I asked.
I'm trying to find it.
It should have been like 9,000 or something like that.
Comments or questions?
Did you find it?
It's on page 12. They have it broken down of what they are considered of. it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down. And it's under Veterans Memorial. So that's the broken down list of what would be covered within that policy or within that description.
Comments?
Oh, you say it's called the Veterans Memorial, is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what it is on page 7.
It doesn't give any coverage.
On page 12.
I'm on page 12. Mine's 0.
Well, that's covered by the sprinklers.
Well,
Pardon?
did you find it?
Huh?
I see Veterans Memorial on page 12. Premium is number 2. The building says 3. Well, if your set's on there, we'll see.
Would you guys like me to confirm that first?
Becky thought she found it. I never did find it.
Well, I remember seeing the veteran, it might have been the one that Courtney just found. I just
Okay, now
remember.
there's another page on page 9 where it says Veterans Memorial Property in the Open, 1 South London. And it shows here the value of it, which is the amount that we have in the second row. It says Veterans Memorial Property is in the Open on page 9.
Yeah, that's the one
Built
I
in
saw.
2017, that'd be it.
There it is. Yeah.
And that, well, that's when we added it on,
Yeah, I see that now.
yeah.
Any more questions? Do I have a motion to adopt, or am I looking for a roll call vote?
Roll call.
Okay, roll call vote.
Lowell,
Yes?
David,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes?
Tammy,
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Thank you. That brings us to 2018-14 resolution. Resolution authorizing Courtney Bricker, fiscal officer, to pay DNS for Praxair distribution, $814. Claire, it emergency, and she can explain why.
Yes. So along with your packets, you guys also received the invoice, okay? This is something that I had spoke to Lowell about when John Martin was here. This was unfortunately a additional invoice that Joe Johnson had agreed upon to a 4-foot cylinder. We don't have a 4-foot cylinder delivered here at 1 South London Street. So John Martin, as well as Lowell, had wrote a letter into Praxair and advised them that we did not authorize it, council did not authorize it, and therefore will not be submitting payment. Well, since then, of course, what happens with unpaid invoices, they get submitted to collection agencies. So collection agency would have sent it to, and they sent it to us, and this is what you have, the invoice attached to it. And I've also via email submitted to you guys the letter that John Martin had submitted, as well as the original invoice. And it dates back from, December of 16. I've attempted to speak with them and tell them that it was never authorized. Unfortunately, he's in federal prison right now, so you can't get it from him. So at this point, they said that we'll have to file a police report. Well, we can't file a police report because it's nothing that we've ever authorized to come back. So at this point, you are either making a motion to pay the invoice, or you are voting no on it. If you are voting no, then we will have our law director create a legal document with an explanation in it saying that council has declined the payment of this and thus for not submitting payment by the village.
What was that cylinder, what piece of equipment is that? Is that something we would have used at the village?
No.
No.
Is it a car part? What is it?
It's like a 4-foot plastic, well, it is a cylinder. And it would house, I guess chemicals or anything you could put in it.
It's acetylene. Acetylene, it's a metal cylinder that holds pressurized gas, such as acetylene or oxygen or something like that.
Like for a hydraulic
Metal.
lift
Like
or
it's for a
something?
torch,
Yeah.
yeah. It'd be for the torches.
Yeah.
So we couldn't file a police report because it's really not something that we purchased and that we're
That we
wanting
never would've
reimbursement
had.
from. And that would be the only way. Now, I wanted to have one of them come out here and say, I don't see where a 4-foot cylinder in this location's at. So again, it probably was delivered, it probably was taken somewhere, it may still be somewhere sitting. But again, I tried to fight the point that, there's no return of this.
Well, our village employees, we looked, and our village employees never found it. And Chris and some of them will say, we never had it.
Yeah.
It was never here that they saw. And we've gone through everything.
So it's added up to $814 is what this is showing here. So once it gets to this global solution, which is the attachment that I included with the resolution, once it gets there, it's not like I can go back to Praxair and tell them. So at this point, that's why our legal director will take it from there, depending upon the outcome of your vote.
But we know, everybody knows it was not authorized. And so the village has every right to say, okay, we did not authorize this, we refuse to pay the bill, but at some point in time, there's going to be a discussion between them and Mr. Pitstick, okay? Is that going to cost the village anything extra?
Not for me.
No, they would be charging us.
I understand. I'm just
Yeah.
that's part of being transparent, because people's going to say, hey, you're not going to pay this $800 bill, you're going to spend $2,000 down here fighting it. It's like,
That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
So
He would have been, our law director would have then start charging us for that service, but
Right.
we've confirmed it.
thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Thank you.
So, with that said, moving right along, would you like to suspend the rules and pay the invoice of $814.51 or not? That's your decision. I'll need a motion to suspend the rules.
Is that either way? We have to suspend the rules no matter how we're gonna vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would we have the ability to fight this bill without paying?
I have no idea. This is John Martin's whole thing. I have nothing to do with it. All I know is what she tells me. They sent us a bill, we refused to pay it.
And
We're-
Lowen did write the letter, so again.
Would it
you guys
cost
have-
more to fight it though if we?
We don't know,
Yeah, I-
David,
First
we
thing
don't
that
know.
happens is if our attorney at this point, there's something that they find or something, then we will have to pay for it. But if that's legislation.
I'm
that,
just
you know,
curious
specific-
which way,
Yes, sir.
So we can just go ahead and bring this up the way it is and just vote no and it's over with, right?
We don't even pardon?
All you have to do is.
We don't have to even bring it up.
If
They don't
you
want
put it on
to.
third reading, or if you put it on first reading, it doesn't make any difference. If you have a motion, a first, and you don't have a second, it dies, and therefore it's for naught. Then I'll go ahead and prepare necessary paperwork and contact this collection agency. You see what I'm saying? However you want to do it.
I go with what Mark wants to do, then I'd be our best way and just do away with it.
But that, we needed to bring it in front of council so council would know what was going on. So if you hear anything, you would understand what we were doing and there wouldn't be any controversy. And that's the reason I prepared this resolution.
But wouldn't it be better to decline it because it's basically we put in our minutes?
Sure, however you want to do it.
So instead of us
Whatever
just
you're
not voting on it, I mean, in my opinion, it would be great to put it in a minute saying that everybody had received it, everybody then got the opportunity to vote it. I mean, that's just.
So would you still want it on the?
I'll give you that motion.
You'll make a motion to suspend the rules?
Yeah.
Okay. Will anybody second it? I'm going to take that as a no. So that resolution dies.
We're gonna call it dead, yes.
Yeah.
We called it dead a long time ago, but it came up again. didn't it?
Yeah, it comes back to life, kind of like a Dracula.
Law
But
cracks
that's
me
what I
up.
wanted, is I wanted a motion to show that we did not.
That
Right.
it was presented to council.
Now, moving right along.
Okay.
Round table discussion.
The day, I like to mention, the day's Abraham Lincoln's 209th birthday, probably
Wow.
the greatest presidents we ever had. We thought we had problems today. He had a divided country to fight. And I always thought myself, always had a lot of respect for the man, and hard to believe that he's 209 years old.
Oh, yeah. Tom?
I just want to remind everybody to, even if you don't join the block watch, at least look out for the police officers out there and the sheriff's deputies. At least keep an eye out for them. And I want to thank all of them, Jack, yourself, and all your colleagues, and all the ones that I have never met. I want to thank them all. Thank you for everything.
Very good. Mr. A?
No comment.
No comment.
I'm
Rebecca?
No comment?
No comment. Tammy?
Yes, I got a comment.
I knew that was coming.
No, I
knew
want to
that was
say,
coming.
I had the opportunity to ride with one of our guys in a snowplow. If that wasn't interesting, Dennis gave me a ride for my life. But shut up, Jack. But I enjoyed it. Enjoyed getting out there with one of the guys and to see what they're really doing. And I tell you what, every one of them's working hard up there. So, that's it.
I just have a few quick things about the community. One other thing I forgot to mention that was brought up, Chris Cisco attended the township meeting, and he's runs the library. And they just got a levy passed through the township, and they have expanded their hours and more events and programming, and they put out a nice flyer not that long ago. So I know a lot of people in the past, including myself, like, when's that library open? So now there's a nice new flyer, and it has extended hours, so that's good. Also, Rebecca touched on it, that the Youth League was at our Park and Recs meeting, and I know some people actually watch this video, so I just wanted to mention some of these things. They start their youth baseball, softball, t-ball sign-ups tomorrow. So it's Tuesday, Saturday, the next couple of weeks, and that's at the community center. Tuesday evenings are 6 to 8, and Saturday mornings are 10 to 2. So it's almost that time. And then I wanted to also mention that the 7th annual Victorian Sweetheart Tea from the library is happening February 17th at the First United Methodist Church. And I believe that's put on by the Friends of the Library, I think. And there's still tickets available. You can get tickets at the door too, so that's a really good thing. One other thing I saw in the paper, February 15th is suicide prevention training over in London at the Job and Family Services, and Amanda Hampton, who we deal with a lot, is putting on some suicide prevention things, and it's called QPR, which is questions, persuade, and refer someone who may be suicidal. So it's another free opportunity to get some information, maybe to help people, and that's 6:30 to 8 p.m. February the 15th.
Very good. It is. Very good. Now it's your turn. Yes.
I would like to know with the water department, since they built it and everything, when can the community go in and look?
We're going to set a open house date. I think it's going to be in March. The whole community will be invited out there and take your little tour. It's amazing.
She can go anytime and go out there and talk to them.
Well, it's not recommended that they go anytime because it's a secured area, and then anyone that goes in that building you have to write down your name and the reason you was there. So we're going to cover that in one day. We're going to invite the whole public out there. You're welcome. Anything else? Meeting adjourned. I wanted to be tired.
Well, you got to relax today. I ain't sat down yet.
I'm not gonna let, I don't know.
Hey, Mark, take care, buddy.
Then she gave me a new one, so I.
Yeah, that's what I was doing over here.
On that Knutson committee, that wasn't an easy battle.
It was a long meeting.
When we spoke on.
There's a lot of comments I can make, but it's meeting like this. It's not worth the hassle.
My legs are like falling asleep here. What's going on? Sure, yeah, go ahead, anytime.
See what I'm saying?
You're crashing our seats.
Yeah, we are. It's like a club for seats.
If you don't.
Crash.
And John.
And you want to know what the name of it was?
I have records.
And also who thickens the adoption.
Okay, so looks like there's the Sarah.
For you.
Sarah Thompson.
Yeah, they do.
I saw his one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see.
That's what I thought
Okay.
was there for a minute because I see my wife.
You want the suspension 1, 2, and 3, or who adopted?
And I do too.
Okay, we have Tom and Rebecca.
I don't have any.
Yep.
They told me that.
I just got an email today. And I'm like,
Yep.
it happens. It's a lot of stuff.
My legs don't want to move.
I've seen that.
Is it possible to get, like, those financial papers that you